desert cottage garden out in the front today. I thought I would pop in and talk a little bit about what January is like in Albuquerque gardens. So throughout the winter, my goal is to make sure that everything gets watered once a month, depending on precipitation. So if I've had precipitation, that's pretty good. Then I don't need to water. Like December, we had quite a bit of precipitation, so I didn't need to water. But so far in January, I haven't seen any, so I went ahead and got the front garden watered, and I'll be working on the back garden soon. We may get some precipitation later in a few days. However, it's also going to be very cold. And because the weather in New Mexico is so unpredictable, we may be getting weather, or we think we're getting weather, but it doesn't show up. So I would rather make sure I get everything watered when it's bearable out, because we have weird weather in Albuquerque in the winter. It can be bitter cold and dry, bitter winds, bitter cold and dry, average like this, kind of warm, 50s, snow, ice, rain. It changes all the time, so you can't really count on it. And so when I have a good day and the month doesn't look like I've had any precipitation, I go ahead and water. Everything right now is very brown and dull. I wouldn't mind if we just had snow to cover it. It would be fine. But when it's brown and dull, I worry. I was like, oh, I don't know if they're going to survive. Are they going to be alive in the spring? And I don't do tours just because it's all just sitting around, being fallow, resting, taking their nap for the winter. But in the spring, we're about halfway through winter now. So that's a good thing. In spring, I've got some plans for the secret garden and the back garden. The front here, the desert cottage garden, is in pretty good shape. I don't see any changes really. I moved my bench away from where my Russian sage is. I'm going to let the Russian sage really fill in that area, because in the front of it, I was trying to grow some stuff and it really just won't grow. The desert the Russian sage loves growing there, so I'm just gonna let it be wild. I haven't cut it back yet. That's a thing that we have to be careful of here, mainly because we do have spurts of warm weather, and that can trick the plants into believing we're in spring. So I don't cut back until we hit March. That's when I go ahead and cut back all the roses and all the Russian sage. So right now it's just kind of dead and hanging out, and there's a few months where I'm just not happy with how it looks, but that's how it works here. You don't want to cut it back too soon because it'll warm up and then it'll think it's spring, and then we get freezes, and that's damaging to your plants. So I don't want to fool with them. And that's about it for today. I hope you're all having a great January. I am having a really good time in my art studio painting away. It's the only thing I really want to do in winter. So that's been great. Have a beautiful day. Remember, be gentle with yourselves. There's only one you.